Hi, welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right, so the Donald Trump kind of life review video seemed to do pretty well. And given the chaos in the government, it's hard to pick any one topic to focus on because there's like 10 topics per day and then 10 topics the next day and another 8 the day after that. And my brother's commented this is like the Gish Gallop with Trump just trying to just absolutely saturate and overwhelm the system with all these changes and demands and things along those lines. And he's trying, this is likely by design, to exhaust people, to get them to not care anymore. And rather than get caught up in the drama of the madman in charge of this country and his agents, I try to step back from it. But that doesn't mean I won't cover things. Probably in the next week or two, I'll do a reading on the budget. Gary and I did one that we put up the other day. Really, nobody watched it. That doesn't mean it was wrong or bad. It's just that the Republicans haven't really come out with their budget. They have concepts of a plan, what they're going to do with the budget. But you're starting to see the videos coming up of Republican congressmen, House members in very protected red districts meeting very hostile crowds. So they're pissing off their base. And that's what we want to see. But, focusing sometimes on the details, we lose sight of the forest for the trees. Where am I rambling with this? I'm going to do the same reading I did yesterday on Trump, but this time I'm going to do it with Musk, Trump 2.0. And I'm curious if Elon Musk were to have a life review, what would they... Oh, Elle just jumped up on the chair. By the way, Nico's on the other side of the chair and she's watching him. Pull you into the camera a little bit. Everybody likes to see pretty kitties. So that's Elle. We just got a little darker. Let me turn the brightness up a little bit. Okay. So, so I want to read on Elon Musk and kind of like one of his big major life goals in this lifetime. Which one of his goals he seems to be doing well with, and which one is he needing some improvement on. I would not be, just leading into this, I don't remember too much what I said about Trump reading yesterday, and that's kind of, my brother's noticed this too, after you've done the readings, and maybe because you've done so many of them, but you're also kind of in a channeling mindset. You forget soon after you've recorded it what it is that you said. You might remember some big ticket things, but some of the details I don't always remember. That being said, that was rude. Well, I hope you all enjoyed your cat fix for the 73 seconds she was on the screen there. This one, Elon Musk is so much like Trump. He's just like this generation's version of Donald Trump. Although one might argue that he's more successful financially than Donald Trump. Elon hasn't really bankrupted many companies, unlike Donald Trump at this part. That doesn't make him any less evil, but just saying. Okay, so this reading is for entertainment purposes only, but come on down. Let's take a look. Give us, in a spirit, if you will, one of the main reasons why Elon Musk has come down at this point and taken such a large role in the collective. All right. Foundation of the reading is the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is coming up with a grand idea and putting it to use. Now, the low energy reading of this, so this could be Gandhi, this could be Mother Teresa, this could be the Dalai Lama, somebody who comes up with this great idea and advances society with their great idea. On the low energy of it, this is taking a baseball bat to everything around you. Which one feels like Elon right now? Elon's coming in to be the great destroyer, I think, is where we're going to go with this. and crossed with the Chariot. Here's your Tesla automobiles here. And he's got this. The challenge is the momentum, keeping up the momentum. So he's going to come in. He's a big idea guy. He has big, bold ideas. His challenge is getting his ideas to market. As an illustration, he announced he is the classic overpromise, underdeliver guy. Which is funny because he got his cult following from taking over at Tesla and recognizing that they had overpromised and underdelivered, and admitted to that, probably because he wouldn't be blamed for it. But then through transparency and marketing about the small gains, incremental gains they got, he came across as being transparent. He didn't come across as a typical CEO. He came across as somebody who was like a normal person who gave normal information to investors and people who wanted their electric cars to show them the incremental gains that they were going down. In other words, they promised a sports car that could get 300 miles range and they could only get like 205. And then he said, we did some software things, we got it up to 220. And hey, we came up with a different way of doing something, we got to 225. And eventually I think they got the car to 250 miles. But because of his transparency, people weren't angry, they were pleased because they felt like they were part of the process. So in some ways, it showed him how including people in makes you a powerful success. See the difference with Donald Trump already? Donald Trump always is divide and conquer. Elon had a lesson early on about bringing people together. Elon, however, is a giant troll and he loves stirring the shit. This is also the stirring the pot card. The challenge is keeping up his momentum. The problem with Elon Musk is he suffers from the most ADHD I've ever seen in my life. That guy, he could probably be really laser focused for a period of time, but then he gets bored and he needs to do something else. He's a perennial child in that regard. Underneath it, but anyways, his life review, he's going to come in with big ideas and probably tear things down, but how much can he keep up the momentum with it? Or, is it going to be systematic, or is it going to be out of control crazy? What we've seen from him, he doesn't come up with great ideas that are in control. He tears things down and he's out of control. And here's the thing. When he's done, what he needs to do is kind of a mystery. Even he doesn't know what he needs to do. It's the funniest thing. If you were to ask him what his life goals were, he wouldn't know the answer. It's not like he's got this great plan. He's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Good Lord, look at the energy on this guy. In the past, the Ace of Swords, he comes up with what he thinks are the absolute most brilliant ideas in the world. He then, without really concerning himself with the consequences of the ideas, here's where it's coming together. He doesn't know how the idea is going to work out, but he'll do them anyways. He'll implement these ideas anyways and see what the fallout is. That's that's why he's here. I have an idea. I don't know how it's going to work out. Let's just do it anyways and see what happens, and we'll fix it later. This is not somebody who plans things out and has contingencies. He just, he's going to piss on the electric fence and see what happens. Current situation is the Four of Wands. He's like in his wheelhouse. They've turned him loose in the government. And now, all these different government agencies that he doesn't want to spend the time to learn how they function. He just wants to go in there and tell people goodbye. Just get rid of them. Just shut things down. We'll worry about it later. Overarching energy is a Page of Cups. Instead of throwing MAGA in this one, what I'm going to say is he's like a child who's fascinated by the world, and he's really self-absorbed in his own world. He doesn't have concerns for other folks in the world. It's him, the fish in the cup, and the cat on his head. There could be there could be nothing, there could be a million people around here, he doesn't see them. He only sees what he sees. And that's the part of the narcissism or arrogance with Elon Musk, is that because he sees things, he assumes that he's right and everybody sees them. So him doing his actions without knowing the consequences and fixing things later is perfectly normal. He doesn't care how it impacts anybody else because it doesn't impact him. Yeah, so lesson to be learned, Knight of Swords, he's reckless. He's got ADHD, he's hyperactive, and he's reckless as hell. That is not a great combination. He has managed to land on his feet all these times, but which is, I guess, just it's got him to where he is now. But lordy, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Out comes the Two of Wands. It's like, you come up with the idea and then the next steps. So he comes up with the idea, he puts his ideas into action, doesn't know the consequences, doesn't care, will just do it anyways. People will celebrate it because it's my idea, so do it as fast as possible, and then we'll just move on to the next thing. I'll build on this. I'll learn from my mistakes. But, it's kind of like, another bad analogy, I guess it's kind of like early versions of brain surgery. You're just digging in there. You don't know what you're doing. And then you're going to poke things and see what happens. The patient may die, but, Elon, the brain surgeon's going to learn some stuff, and then they'll do something different with the next patient and build on that. Eventually, that person could be a skilled brain surgeon, but there's going to be a whole pile of corpses off to the side of everybody who he experimented on to get to that point. That's why he's here. The problem with Elon, remember the game Operation? You had to reach in with the tweezers and pull out the bones out of the body, and the nose lit up red if you touched metal on the side. The problem with Elon is his was like a 9-volt battery game, and it should have been hooked up to the high voltage tension lines, so that if he touches the side, he'd get such a zap it would shoot him across the room, and then he might actually have some caution instead of throwing caution to the wind. I don't think he's ever been badly burned by something that he actually learns a lesson from it. And again, that might be just like Trump is down here to teach us lessons on unity and standing up for marginalized people. Elon's going to teach us about empathy and consequences of our actions, and to reject people who do things in their best interest and don't care about the consequences and collateral damage around them to others. Okay, so what's Elon doing that he's really, really succeeding in more than anything else? 4 of Cups. It's like the discernment. Taking opportunities as they come and discerning the thing that he wants to do. I talk about his ADHD. All these different projects, whether, he came in and I think he was part of eBay, PayPal, and then moved on to Tesla and SpaceX, and now super government Crusader 101. What he's doing well is he's hitting all these different marks of things to keep himself busy and keep himself entertained. The minute he gets bored, he moves on to something else. The problem is that this is kind of like his mind. It's just a chaotic mind with him. What he's doing well is causing chaos, or the chaos drives him to discernment. When things start getting chaotic, he puts the cup down and goes to something else. So he comes in creating chaos and then moves on to something else. But the thing is, he kind of learns from this. It shapes his values, and he's gotten a voice for this. All these successful business operations, again, or Twitter, he comes in supposedly this great messenger of money and financial success, but he brings chaos wherever he goes. In the past, the magician, Elon is fantastic. Like Donald Trump, Elon is fantastic at manifesting, but he's much better at manifesting money and good opportunities for himself. The problem is the chaos that comes with him. That's a classic narcissist, by the way. Current situation is the Ten of Swords. The things that he's doing really well. Just... Now, this is like beating a dead horse. This is taking... this is probably, again, with that Ace of Wands, this is taking old systems and just stabbing it in the back. He's going to make sure that the old systems die and that they're not getting back up from this. And he'll kill it 10 different ways to prevent it from resurrecting. Sorry if this is not a real pleasant visual here, but I guess, he's the Grim Reaper as far as that goes. The overarching energy is, here's the thing, he likes it. He likes killing off other people's ideas. And that goes back to the narcissist, because he thinks he's got the best ideas. And all these other ideas, those are other people's ideas. On that, we should do my ideas. My ideas are brilliant. Lesson to be learned as Emperor. He likes to be in charge. He wants to manifest things. He loves being in charge. Do what I tell you to do. I've got great discernment. Yeah, I come with chaos, but hey, how else do you kill the old systems other than through chaos? And then, after he's done all that... Good Lord. Sorry. Picture fell off the back here. After all that, what do we have? The Two of Swords. Then he moves on to the next thing. He has no idea what the next thing is because he doesn't plan things out. He just moves on to the next opportunity. It's funny because he's very much an opportunist and a manifester, but... with that Page of Cups on the previous reading, he's like a kid with this great imagination and fascination. So whatever he dreamt of as a kid is what he wants to do as an adult. Probably why he's got a fascination with taking a rocket ship to Mars. Start a Mars colony where he could be, the ruler of the world over in Mars. And since he considers himself to be the brightest person in the room and a visionary and has the best ideas, that sort of thing, he would obviously be in charge and be the Emperor of Mars. And I assure you that if I were to take a poll of my viewers, even ones watching this video, and say, would you vote for Elon to be put on a rocket ship to Mars so he can start his Martian space colony, and you could put all of Elon's supporters to go with him and give them all the material and stuff they need to build a colony and ship them off, would you take it? Would you think the world would be a worse place without Elon and his cult members here? We eventually would have War of the Worlds. Anyway, yeah. Now, where is Elon failing? If you were having his life review and there's like, Elon, if Elon were to assess his life and judge himself and say, yeah, I didn't do this really well, what would it be? Now, the funny thing is, yesterday when I did this for Trump, I got the same card as his success is also his biggest failure. So let's see what we get for Elon here. What's his biggest success here? His biggest failure, excuse me. Oh, geez. The suffering of the people on the other end of the table. Remember I was talking to you about the brain surgery? Where he's failing are the corpses in there. He's failing in that he has become obsessed with wealth. He's the wealthiest, maybe not the wealthiest. He could be among the wealthiest. He's definitely among the wealthiest men in the world. He could be the wealthiest man in the world, but we don't know how much Putin is worth. Okay? Dude's worth a lot of money, but the lower 50% of the American population is struggling, and he doesn't have a care in the world about them. They're not even on his radar. Because Elon the child has never saw himself as connected to these people. He's going to build rocket ships and go to Mars and stuff like that. Coming out and helping poor people and housing homeless people and feeding hungry and stuff like that. That hasn't occurred to this child. That's not in that's not in his daydreams. And again, the reason why people are suffering is the very chaos of his actions. When you looked at Twitter, when he took over Twitter, he immediately fired a bunch of most of the workforce, left or got fired. The ones he kept were the ones who were indentured servants, the H-1B visas, and they had to work for pennies on the dollar, and they didn't have a choice. They had to stay. He didn't care. He loves the fact that he had people that were forced to work there or be deported. Talk about leverage. So yeah, the problem is also the chaos he brings. That's the chaos energy is where he's failing. In the past, you got the Ten of Coins. This is probably DNA related as well as wealth. He is without getting into eugenics, this apple probably did not fall too far from the tree it was born on. Okay, let's put it that way. Also, he's amassed a huge amount of wealth, but he's not doing anything charitable with that wealth. Current situation. Eight of Wands. He is in a unique position where he actually could be helping people. He is messaging it as cutting wasteful government spending. The problem is the spending that he's cutting is the very spending that helps poor people get by with their lives and improves their quality of lives. But that doesn't make him money. So he doesn't like that. So now he's rapidly taking on that. He should be learning this lesson. This is the lesson he should be learning at this point, is how do you help these people, not oppress them. This is going to be an ongoing theme with him. Two of Wands, just like we had on the outcome over here. He has the great ideas. He puts them into action. Chariot will let the bodies fall where they may. And then the Two of Wands, I've learned my lesson and move on. Right now, he's in the part where he should have learned his lesson from his actions and be refining his program. But right now, I don't think he's refining his program to help poor people. He likes moving quickly. The dude moves extremely fast, but it's not surgical. It's buckshot. It's like, it would be like killing a bird, shooting a shotgun and hitting with pellets as opposed to a rifle shot. Which, I mean, that's how you shoot clay pigeons, right? But if you were shooting a deer, you want a rifle shot, one shot through the lungs to take it down. You don't want to hit it with a 30-06 shotgun. You're going to blow the poor thing to pieces. That's assuming you were shooting the deer for eating it, right? If you shoot it with a shotgun, you have to find, not only have you blown all the meat all over the place, but then you have to find all the pellets that are in there. Not going to be much left of that animal after you're done doing all that. For the vegetarians and vegans out there, sorry for the gruesome analogy, but it kind of works. I think the analogy I use with my brother is, it's like him doing surgery by tossing a hand grenade into the patient's body cavity and waiting to see what happens. Oh, the lesson to be learned is the magician. How funny. He's the great manifester. That's, in the past he can manifest things. The lesson to be learned is he can still manifest things, but he's manifesting wealth for himself and not wealth for others. Outcome is going to be the Justice card. How interesting also. I want you to take some solace with this. If Elon cannot make the lives of poor, marginalized people better, then Elon's money that he has now is probably going to go away via the court systems. Yeah, I mentioned that. There's a strange sound. I mentioned that he's kind of like Donald Trump 2.0. Picture Elon being in court, being sued left, right, and center for all the stuff that he's done over the years. Now he's got like 14 baby mamas and stuff like that. So you're gonna have that all that child support that you got going on. But picture him not having. Picture Tesla going bankrupt and all the Tesla stock, which is the majority of his wealth, being worthless. That kind of thing. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with Tesla, but understanding that I don't think his wealth is particularly diversified, and it's heavily influenced by his ownership of lots and lots of Tesla stock. If Tesla stock were valued as a car company and not a high-tech company, this dude would he'd still be really wealthy, but not like he is now. He'd lose about 99% of his wealth if Tesla were valued like a car company rather than a high-tech company. Lastly, what's one thing Spirit would like us to know about Elon Musk? For Carter, and we'll end it here. Judgment. It's not for us to judge him. That's somebody else's job. But we don't have to answer his call. We have free will to ignore that. You have the Six of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Five of Coins. Wow, some cards are coming right back up here. And the Five of Cups, disappointment. I do think, though, that when he has his life review, he's not going to be real happy with it. He could have done so much. You know, if he had five objectives, maybe he attained 2 of them, but he really dropped the ball on 3 of them. And it's just this immaturity about him, this naivety. Part of it is this immaturity and naivety would be fascinating and really drive him because he's a really curious person. The problem is his lack of empathy for others, his lack of generosity, his he's not a benefactor. He's not a hold on, let me come up with the word here. I thought I unpaused it. Here I am talking for the last 3 minutes. Philanthropy. I think that's where I left off. I stopped because I couldn't remember the word. Philanthropy. That's where Elon's kind of failing here. It's not our job to judge his philanthropy. It's his job during his life review to judge his philanthropic behaviors or lack thereof. I don't think, I don't think he got there. And I do think that he very likely in this lifetime, when it's pretty evident that he's not learning the lesson, he's going to have that money taken away from him. He would have had the opportunity to distribute it as he saw fit to make the world closer to to be the change he wants to see in the world. He's being given that opportunity. If he doesn't take it, well, then his money will be taken away and other people will use that money to make the world, the changes they want in the world that they want to see in this world. Melinda Gates, Mackenzie Bezos, they get it. They're the ones who are spending billions of dollars a year in charitable donations to make the world a better place for all. And that's the path he should be going down. And with the amount of money that he has, that's what he should be doing. He's not doing it yet. I'm not convinced he's going to get there. But that's not my life. That's his life, his choices. He can make a huge difference in the world. Or if he chooses not to, you can't take it with you and you might get taken away from you. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you find it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.